What's up, guys? Today I want to talk about pressure testing coolant systems. We first need to understand why you shouldn't ever have a coolant leak. A pressure cooker uses the same principles as the cooling system in your car. As the coolant heats up, it creates pressure in the system. This pressure effectively raises the boiling point. You've probably seen the effects of this if you've ever tried to remove the radiator cap from a hot vehicle only to be greeted by pressurized boiling coolant. This is because, as you open the system, you immediately lower the pressure to a boiling point. If the pressure cannot build, the boiling point will be too low, and the pressure that is trying to build will escape from any leak. Due to the nature of coolant and its increased efficiency under pressure, any leak that makes it closer to atmosphere pressure puts your engine at risk of overheating and blowing a head gasket, which most of the time, in my experience, means either a junked car or a junkyard engine. So learning to quickly and accurately diagnose coolant leaks seems to be one of the more useful tools besides normal maintenance to keep your car alive. It seems like 9 times out of 10, if someone's car I'm looking at is overheating, it's because of a coolant leak. To perform a pressure test on a cooling system is pretty straightforward and takes more patience than skill. First, you're going to need to find a way to pressurize the system. There are several options out there at various price points, and I'll talk about a few of those that I've used in a future video, so be sure to subscribe to be the first to see that. For this video, I'll be using my current pressure testing setup, and I happen to have a Ford Ranger with a coolant leak, so we'll also be able to use that. First, you're going to select the correct adapter for the car or truck you are working on. Then, open up the radiator cap and check the level. If it's too low, it may be necessary to add distilled water or 50/50 coolant to properly do this test. If your system is full of air, it will take a lot of pumping to build any pressure in the system, and you'll be there all day. Once you have the tool hooked up, I add pressure until I get to the same pressure that the radiator cap is set to release at, which is normally written on the cap itself. At this point, if you have a decent sized leak, you should be able to see the pressure dropping off immediately. If the pressure seems consistent though, I will normally leave the system pressurized for about 10 to 15 minutes just to make sure there isn't a slow leak. If you have confirmed that you do in fact have a coolant leak, it's time to find it. Check over the whole cooling system to see if you can find any leaks. You can also normally hear them as well, so keep your ears open if you're in a relatively quiet area. And sometimes you can see them on the ground and then follow them up. Normally, the leak will become known at this point, but if you still can't find it, start feeling under the dash on the carpet to see if the heater core might be leaking. You can also isolate the heater core from the rest of the system and test just it, or the rest of the system without the heater core in the mix. But it's best to do this type of testing without undoing anything, as you could induce a leak that wasn't there before. So I don't recommend this unless it's a last resort. Supposing that you have checked over everything that involves coolant externally and still can't find the leak, but have confirmed that you have one, it might be time to start looking internally. The most common seems to be a blown head gasket, so my next move is to normally do a relative compression test, because it's so easy for someone with an oscilloscope to do. However, if you don't have access to one or know someone that can perform one, a conventional compression test or any other head gasket testing methods could also be used. So we have a confirmed coolant leak, or confirmed head gasket leak into the coolant. Now, if you've made it this far and still haven't found your leak, you need to check to see if there are coolant passages in the intake or throttle body. Many of the older GM products that I work on like to leak in these places and can easily fool you into thinking you have a blown head gasket. Another possibility for automatics is perhaps inside the radiator itself, leaking into the transcooler, so be sure to check the transmission fluid. After you have completed your repair, or any time I work on anything that involves coolant, I'll perform a pressure test afterwards to confirm my fix and to be able to say and prove it's no longer leaking. In the next few videos, I'll talk about how to properly refill a cooling system using a vacuum purge and how to preliminarily check if a dry cooling system will leak before filling it up. So make sure to subscribe to see those. And let me end by saying that I have never worked at a shop. I have never taken any classes or gotten any certifications. I do, however, love fixing cars and have been very fortunate to have been trusted to help my friends and neighbors diagnose, repair, and maintain hundreds of vehicles. But I am by no means an expert. This is just my experience. I'm Matt from Gasket. Hope this video helped you out in some way and that you have a great rest of your day. And here's the new radiator cap.